Welcome in to News and Views with Tom Lamprecht. The stories you've heard and the ones you need to hear.
The January 6th riot.
Speaker Pelosi.
She has objected to 2 members.
No committee in Congress will work if one person is picking all who can serve.
Ridiculous to put them on such a committee seeking the truth.
We are not out of the woods yet, the Delta variant.
The number of cases rising again.
Getting vaccinated.
Your life, your values, your voice. This is News and Views with Tom Lamprecht on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
All right, welcome in. It is Friday. The weekend is here. To start things out, just a quick verification that Hollywood is nuts. Actress Jamie Lee Curtis announced that her child, her biological male son, is now a transgender woman who plans to get married next year at a ceremony, and Jamie Lee Curtis will officiate in the ceremony. Let's go from Hollywood over to the Olympics taking place in Japan. Laurel Hubbard, we talked about Laurel. Laurel is a biological male who's decided he can't compete with other males in weightlifting, so he is now a female. Laurel Hubbard will compete this coming Monday. Laurel thanked the International Olympic Committee for its inclusive stance, allowing transgender athletes to compete in events based on gender identity. Hubbard, who is a male, is set to become the first openly transgender person to compete in the Olympics when he takes place in the women's weightlifting competition on Monday. The Olympic Games are a global celebration of our hopes, our ideals, and our values. However, if you are a real woman, don't get your hopes up too high. This individual, this Laurel Hubbard, who's a biological male, will win the gold. It's not going to be a competition. Hubbard's statement of appreciation came after the IOC Medical and Science Director, that's a laughable title, Richard Budgett, promoted Hubbard and Hubbard's participation in the Olympics, claiming, are you ready for this quote? Now, this is a medical and science director. Quote, "Everyone agrees that trans women are women." Everybody agrees. I don't. I might be the only one left, but I don't. So it's this idea that we're celebrating our hopes, our ideals, our values. This is the war on women. Just a few other examples of how and why Hubbard is going to win. In track and field, male high school runner CC Tefler won 3 titles in the Northeast 10 Championships for women's track and received the Most Outstanding Track Athlete Award. Biological male. Biological male in softball, Pat Cordova Goff took 1 of 15 spots on his California high school women's varsity softball team, which means some biological woman didn't get to play. This is beyond the pale. In basketball, a 50-year-old, 6'8", 230-pound man, Gabriel Robert Ludwig, led the Mission College women's basketball team to a national championship with the most rebounds. Yeah, that was fair. In mixed martial arts, male fighter Fallon Fox shattered female fighter Tamika Brent's eye socket and gave her a concussion. Brent said she never felt so overpowered in her life. In Connecticut's state track and field championships, 2 male school runners, Andrea Yearwood and Terry Miller, 2 biological males, took first and second place in multiple events, beating out top high school girls from across the state. Yearwood was named Connecticut's Athlete of the Year for females. You know, this is asinine. This is just asinine. And for this individual that calls himself a medical and science director, Richard Budgett, to come out and say everybody agrees that a trans woman is a woman. I don't think so. How about just a little bit of good news from the Olympics? Just a little bit. A South African swimmer with a Solo de Gloria swim cap won Olympic gold after breaking the world record for the women's 200-meter breaststroke. 24-year-old Tajana Schoenemaker completed the race, with a time of 2 minutes, 18.95 seconds, breaking the previous world record of 2 minutes and 19.11 seconds in 2013. American swimmers Lily King and Annie Laser, who clinched silver and bronze, rushed to embrace Schoenemaker in the water while she wept in disbelief. I wasn't expecting all that, said Schoenemaker. I couldn't have had a better race. It still hasn't sunk in, maybe one day. It's an incredible swim, Laser said of Schoenemaker. The world record's been standing for a bit too long. Schoenemaker previously earned silver in Tokyo for the women's 100-meter breaststroke. Beyond her swimming performance, Schoenemaker has attracted international attention for her swim cap she wears under her South African cap, which reads Solo de Gloria, glory to God alone. The cap also features a Jesus fish, an ancient Christian symbol associated with the Greek word for fish, ichthys, which doubles as a Greek translation for Jesus Christ, Son of God and Savior. It's fun to see someone who, by today's standards, is politically incorrect triumph like this. She prayed on her way, and she posted this on Twitter. I'm surprised they didn't ban it because it won't be long before they will. On her way to the Olympics, she posted a prayer to her Twitter page. Father God, may your will be done. May your peace fill us up. May we praise you no matter what the outcome. May we be empowered by your strength to give it our all, and may we be forever in the all of your goodness. Kudos to Tajana Schoenemaker from South Africa. That's about the only good news out of the Olympics I've heard so far. Town Hall's reporting Attorney General Merrick Garland is threatening to sue Texas after Greg Abbott signed an executive order banning the transport of illegal aliens, including thousands who are carrying the virus. I urge you, this is Garland talking to Greg Abbott in the letter, I urge you to immediately rescind Executive Order GA-37 entitled Relating to the Transportation of Migrants During the COVID-19 Disaster. The order purports to mandate that no person other than a federal, state, or local law enforcement official shall promise ground transportation to a group of migrants who have been detained by the U.S. Customs and Border Protection for crossing the border illegally or who would have been subject to expulsion under Title 42 order. Garland wrote in a letter to Abbott, as explained below, the order is dangerous and unlawful. The order would jeopardize the health and safety of non-citizens in federal government's custody. I mean, listen to what he said. The order would jeopardize the health and safety of non-citizens in federal government custody. This is pretty usual for liberal Democrats. Garland is admitting here that their concern is for the health and safety of non-citizens, illegal aliens, people who are not here legally. We're worried about their health and safety, but not a word of concern for the health and the safety of the U.S. citizen. Not a word. And that's exactly what Governor Abbott is trying to protect, those who are trying to protect the U.S. citizens. What is Merrick Garland worried about? The non-citizens. The order is contrary to federal law and cannot be enforced. This is, again, Garland talking to Abbott. Accordingly, consistent with its authorities under federal law, the United States will continue its non-citizen transportation operations unabated, he continued. I urge you to immediately rescind the order. If you do not, I am providing consistent notice within section blah, blah, blah of the Justice Department's Justice Manual that the United States intends to pursue all appropriate legal remedies to ensure that Texas does not interfere with the functions of the federal government. You know, I mentioned this yesterday. This is beginning to be a groundswell for how we are going to have major civil disobedience. You have insanity taking place on the federal level. with the mandates coming down on vaccinations. By the way, Biden yesterday said he will require all federal workers to be vaccinated against the coronavirus. And the Postal Workers Union said, not so fast, bud. We don't think so. So Joe is basically mandating, well, he has mandated, not basically, he has mandated that all federal workers will be vaccinated. We talked to Senator Jim Perry yesterday about the mandate in these hospitals that all the medical workers are mandated to get the shot. So what is going to happen when the people say no? Are you going to fire all the postal workers? Are you going to fire all the nurses? I mean, there's a nursing shortage right now. Be honest with you, if these people hang together and say, I don't think so, no, we're not going to do it, what are they going to do? I mean, we talked yesterday about how Nancy Pelosi has required anybody in the House, including House members, to wear a mask. If they don't, she has ordered the Sergeant at Arms, Capitol Police, whomever, to go out and arrest them, except for the lawmakers themselves. The members of the House, they will be fined $500 the first time, up to $2,500 every time after that. Republicans late yesterday rallied in the House, in the Capitol, basically telling Nancy Pelosi, you know where to go. None of them were wearing masks. And it was just about the entire Republican coalition of House members were gathered together, and we're not wearing the masks. Interestingly, Nancy Pelosi, who swore in the newest House member from Texas, that individual, after he was sworn in, they took pictures. Nancy pulled off her mask. Why wasn't she arrested? Abbott, firing back at Merrick Garland, said it is clear that the Biden administration fundamentally misunderstands what is truly happening at the Texas-Mexico border. The current crisis at our southern border, including the overcrowding of immigration facilities and the devastating spread of COVID-19 and the influx of non-citizens is causing, is entirely the creation of the Biden administration and its failed immigration policy. Abbott released in a statement, by choosing not to enforce immigration laws, removing sound policies like Remain in Mexico program, and failing to make the most robust use of Title 42 authorities, this administration has directly caused the unprecedented crisis Texas is facing and is increasingly a matter of grave public health concern as unlawful immigrants enter the counties with lower vaccination rates than in the United States. Now, one disagreement I have with Governor Abbott, and that is he says it is clear that the Biden administration fundamentally misunderstands what's happening in Texas-Mexico border. No, I think the Biden administration perfectly understands, Governor. I mean, I appreciate your conciliatory attitude, your diplomatic posture on that, but they understand just fine what they're doing. They know just also well. And again, we talked about this yesterday as well. I think the reason why they're doing what they are doing is they want to extend the COVID crisis as long as they possibly can. So once again, they can cheat in the 2022 elections. Just yesterday, Merrick Garland came out and said he would be suing states that not only is he going to sue Texas over this, but he's also going to sue any other state that attempts to pass legislation that would return election integrity to pre-COVID standards. Connect the dots. Yeah, you're worried about the health of the illegal immigrants. You weren't worried about them when you said, come on over, and you have all kinds of people dying on the way. You have coyotes abusing them. You have women and kids that are sexually abused. You have little kids that are just left along the roadside out in the middle of the desert, but you're worried about their safety and their health. What a crock. We got to take a time out. Lots more to talk about. Friday's edition of News and Views. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
And we're on location at one of my favorite places in the whole planet because this is some of the best food you're ever going to eat in your life. We are at Nino's on Red Banks Road in Greenville. It's one of my hangouts. It's one of the places that I love. I got my friend Pietro Passalacqua. How'd I do?
You did great.
Let's talk about the food. What makes this place? I know it's special Italian from authentic Italians, but tell us why it's so special.
Because everything we do, it's really what we came up on the menu from what we did at home, from my grandparents, my parents. So it's exactly what we eat at home, and that's the way we cook. That's why it's special.
And the atmosphere in this place is special also. From the bar to the two dining areas. You got two different dining areas, and now the weather's nice, so there's going to be a lot of folks that want to eat outside.
Yeah, we have two rooms. One room is designed a little different. We're also working on the patio to make it more attractive and more useful in the summer with a cocktail service. And we're always improving our services.
And, of course, my friends here, my buddy, Chef Massimo, who I love, and Sal and Pietro, you guys do a great job here. Not just Italian, but I had a great pork chop here the other night. You got great steaks, too.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we're also adding filet mignon in the future on our menu. And Massimo is coming out with a really good side dishes for it. And so we're really excited to come out with new meats and fish dishes.
All right, Nino's on Red Banks Road in Greenville. Same people that give you Marabella's and the great pizza that you get at Marabella's, but this is fine dining at Nino's. If you haven't been here, you don't know what you're missing. Come see them at Nino's on Red Banks Road. And Pietro, what is that famous saying about Nino's?
The food that you enjoy with people that you love.
Top Dog Academy is Eastern North Carolina's complete dog training facility. Top Dog provides an excellent environment for dogs of all ages with training services and work week daycare. Top Dog is located on Highway 43 South, just 4 miles from Bells Fork, and features a comfortable, healthy environment and a spacious facility for daycare and a brand new, beautiful facility for training. Call 752-8215 or visit TopDogOnline.com.
Come on out Highway 43 South to Top Dog Academy, where we know dogs.
Living easy is the sound of children laughing as you make memories with neighbors and friends. It's the sound of nothing at all. It's the smell of the salt air. Hear the waters against the marsh grass. See the beauty of our coast. Bow Coast, located in Beaufort, North Carolina. Southern Living's best small town.
A collection of question marks.
There's a lot of questions.
Why? How?
No logic, no reason, no explanation. Just a prolonged nightmare.
Worst nightmare of their lives.
This long nationwide nightmare.
We'll start collecting clues as to the whys, the whats, and the wheres.
Neighborhood by neighborhood. Literally knocking on doors.
This is your worst nightmare.
The nightmare.
It would be a nightmare.
Worst nightmare.
We will not end the nightmare. We'll only explain it.
Explain to us.
Because this
is News and Views with Tom and Benny on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
Welcome back in. Take a look at your weather forecast for the weekend. Tonight, a chance of showers, just a slight chance, mostly before midnight. Chance of rain is about 30%. Low tonight around 72. Tomorrow, again, a chance of afternoon thunderstorms and showers just passing. Otherwise, mostly sunny with a high around 86. Sounds pretty good. Tomorrow night, more of the same. Chance of rain is 30%, low around 71. Sunday, however, the rain will come in, a 70% chance of a thunderstorm or a passing shower. Some sunshine in between with a high of 87. Weather brought to you by our friends at the Ironwood Golf and Country Club, voted best golf course in Greenville 2 years in a row. Ironwood Golf and Country Club boasts an 18-hole Lee Trevino design course, full-service dining and outdoor pool, tennis, and more. The newly renovated 15,000-square-foot clubhouse is the perfect place to make new traditions with your family. For a limited time, join Ironwood, pay zero initiation fees. Give them a call, 252-752-4653. Find out what makes Ironwood the best of Greenville, 252-752-4653. Be a part of the best Ironwood Golf and Country Club. And if you're new to golf, there's no better PGA teacher than John LaMonica. He'll give you all the ins and outs. He'll get you up and playing in no time. Again, their number, 252-752-4653. This is humorous. Democrats are funny. Democrats say the funniest things. If Art Linkletter was only back to have this program. Democrat New York Governor Andrew Cuomo is begging citizens to return to New York City. Cuomo reportedly told attendees of a virtual conference call for the Association for a Better New York that the city would need residents who fled the city, especially those who completed remote work elsewhere, to promptly return. Quote, "Remember, we've got to get people back, and we have to get people back in volume," said Cuomo. By the way, they've had some, I think since like 2018, there's been a mass exodus run somewhere around 18% per year. People have left New York City. If you were to see a 15% decline in people coming back to New York City, that would be a devastating impact on the commercial market. I'm sorry, if you were to see a 15% decline of people not coming back to New York City, that would be devastating. We need people coming back, he said. Say to your workforce, by Labor Day, everyone needs to be back in the office. We need that volume to support the restaurants and the shops, the services. Cuomo said, it's not just about your business. It's about the spinoff, the effect on the economy, blah, 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 blah. Leaders in the state of New York and New York City in particular enforced some of the most aggressive COVID-19 lockdown measures in the United States. As a result, New York is currently the lowest ranked state for post-recession economic recovery. Now, does Cuomo think that just saying to offices, your people need to come back, and begging residents to return to New York City, that's going to happen? I mean, he's obviously a heavy-handed politician. I mean, we saw that as he basically put a gun to the head of old people when he forced nursing homes to take in people with COVID, and how many thousands of people died on that. And you wonder why people left. Actually, the solution for people to come back is fairly simple. You demanding them to come back is not going to work, but the first thing you need to do, you and de Blasio, is resign. That would begin to bring people back. Then have people who are left behind remove the draconian COVID lockdown and vaccine mandates. You're about the worst. You have the heaviest-handed lockdowns, vaccine mandates, and masks mandates, and yet you've got some of the highest death rates in the country. So that's one thing you could do. That you lower property taxes, lower income taxes. New Yorkers face a marginal tax rate of 71.6%, a rate higher than anywhere else in the developed world. You heard that right. When you add all the taxes and fees that New York businesses and citizens have to pay, the highest in the developed world, and you wonder why people are leaving. And you think they're going to come back just because you say so. How about supporting law enforcement? How about getting rid of this asinine no bail release for violent criminals? Those who have been arrested, get out of jail free. How about stop awarding contracts exclusively to union organizations? How about quit regulating everything that moves or breathes? How about arresting the vagrants and move out the homeless that are stopping and taking a dump right on the sidewalk in front of a business? And then you come out and fine the business if they don't go out and clean up. They got to clean it up. But you don't arrest the vagrants. I mean, remember all the protests, all the Wall Street protests where we had all kinds of people lined up, setting up tents? Yeah, that didn't go. I mean, this process of people leaving, it didn't happen overnight. These are in excess of a decade of just idiots running the state government and running the city government. How about running your subways and buses on time? And how about cleaning up the subways so they don't smell like a urinal? Small business owners, could you help them out? Small business owners face 16.67 in state and local top marginal tax rates. And on top of that, they got to pay the personal income tax. 8.82 in New York State income tax, 3.876 in New York City income tax, 4% in New York City unincorporated business tax. And you wonder why they're leaving and not coming back. And by the way, you say come back so you can support the shops and the restaurants. The shops and the restaurants are all shutting down. Why? Well, that's another reason. You've mandated these minimum wage fees that these restaurants can't afford to pay, and you wonder why people have left and they're not coming back. And then the culture in New York City. Does anybody want to be there? Well, you got New York Times reporter Katie Brennan earlier this week came out, and what she's thinking came out loud. Brennan wants the regime to label Trump supporters as enemies of the state and to combat national security threats. She later took down this tweet. She approves of Black Lives Matter, but wants patriotic Americans labeled as enemies of the state. Fox News reported New York Times reporter Katie Brennan suggested on Tuesday that in order to tackle America's current national security dilemma, Trump supporters should be considered enemies of the state. That's your local publication. The Free Beacon is reporting just today an imam who serves as an adjunct professor at the City University of New York, a public institution, City University of New York, said in a sermon that Muslims will erase this filth called Israel after accusing Jews of creating a colonial settlement. Mohammed Abbasi, who teaches at the City University of New York School of Professional Studies, delivered the remarks in a June 25th sermon. So they won this time. They established their colonial project called Israel, Abbasi said. So here's the conclusion. I don't want you to leave depressed. I want to give you the good news. With the help of Allah, we will erase this filth called Israel. Yeah, that's your culture in New York. And you wonder why people are leaving and not coming back. Fortunately, we still have the freedom to move about. I mean, you know, most communist countries, in Cuba, for example, and everybody wants to be like Cuba, right? All you lefties want to be like Cuba. In Cuba, you've got to get permission just to move from one apartment to another. We still have the ability to come and go as we please for now. You know, when will you mandate that you can't leave? I mean, at the rate you're going, that's people say, oh, come on, that'll never happen. Really? Jonathan Turley is reporting Twitter has put political commentator Dave Rubin in Twitter jail. They've kicked him off. An example of how big tech is now dispensing with any pretense and actively barring criticism of the government policies and viewpoints. It was just a week ago, 2 weeks ago, Jen Psaki talked about how the Biden administration was going to come alongside of Facebook and other big tech to help censor misinformation. And, of course, we asked at the time, okay, who is the judge and the arbiter of what misinformation is? Well, if it's a lib, which it has been and continues to, we know that there's not going to be a fair decision on that. This guy, Dave Rubin, was locked out under common, quote, misinformation claimed by Twitter. However, his tweet was an opinion based on true facts. One can certainly disagree with the conclusion, but this is an example of core political speech being curtailed by a company with a long history of biased censorship, including the barring of discussion involving Hunter Biden's laptop before the election. And by the way, the head of Twitter came out and said, oh, yeah, well, we're sorry. We shouldn't have done that. Yeah, a little too late after the election was over. With a new election looming, these companies appear to be ramping up their censorship efforts. This is what David Rubin tweeted. And this is why he was kicked off of Twitter for tweeting this. Quote, They want a federal vaccine mandate for vaccines which are clearly not working as promised just weeks ago. People are getting and transmitting COVID despite the vaccinations. Plus now, they're prepping us for booster shots. A sane society would take a pause. We do not live in a sane society. That is the horrible thing he tweeted for which he got booted. There's nothing in that that's not factually accurate. The only thing that is his opinion is this terrible comment. A sane society would take a pause. Other than that, everything he said is factual. Orwell wrote in his novel 1984. This is a quotation from 1984 from Orwell. And when memory failed and written records were falsified, when that happened, the claim of the party to have improved the conditions of human life had got to be accepted because there did not exist and never again could exist any standard against which it could be tested. Yeah. If we just eliminate the truth, we can get away with it whatever we want. Why do you think there's this heavy, I mean, first of all, why is there a vacuum of teaching accurate history and civics to kids in the public schools? I mean, that's a good question to ask. But and now we have this false narrative of everything from, as I said at the beginning of the program, there's no doubt a transgender woman is a woman, right? Yeah, everybody believes that, right? Let's just change the narrative, however it suits our agenda. And, I mean, what's the difference? I mean, everybody condemns the Nazi book burnings, and I'll condemn it along with it, but where's the condemnation for the censorship? I mean, is this not a modern-day book burning equivalent to what Nazi Germany was doing? Now, granted, there are other ways that you can get about this, but again, these are supposed to be platforms that are uncensored, and they're the most highly censored publications, not platforms, but publications that are out there. I mean, these are the modern-day news feeds. Hey, we've got to take another time out. Lots more to talk about for Friday's edition of News and Views. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Break the chain. Eat local. Tiebreakers.
Hey, this is Hank Hinton back here at Full Service Flooring in Winterville. I'm here today with Corey Little, who's the operations manager here at Full Service Flooring. Corey's been here 6 months, but you've been in construction a long time. Tell us about what you do here at Full Service Flooring.
Yeah, I got over here about 6 months ago. I've been in construction for, like I said, a little over 20 years, and I've known Tim for a long time now, and he's brought me over here to see what new kind of things I can bring to the store and to our customers. And I'm in charge of scheduling, and I don't know what else. I'm in charge of everything. It seems like we work together as a team and try to pull it all together. I might do a measure one day and do a commercial floor the next day, but we just kind of all work together and pull it all together at one time.
So what's new in flooring? What is the hot new thing?
The hot new thing is LVP or LVT, depending on what you're looking for, which look you're looking for. It's a waterproof product. It's absolutely fantastic. You can't really beat it.
A lot cheaper than hardwoods?
It is definitely a cost-effective alternative to hardwoods, yes, sir.
So, Corey, how is business right now?
And business is good. Despite the pandemic, we're still seeing a lot of new customers in the store, and we get an opportunity to introduce our products in a lot of different situations right now.
Corey, you've got a lot of experience in the construction industry. How is that helping you here with people, helping people with flooring here at Full Service Flooring?
Sure. I try to take the experiences that I've gained over my time in construction to help apply that to the flooring, whether it be with what the structure is made out of, the subfloor that we're going over top of, or maybe even just how it coordinates with your kitchen cabinets in construction or in your bathroom and how the tub and everything all ties together.
and a customer can just come here and see you anytime?
Absolutely. We're here 6 days a week, and we just love to see a new customer in here anytime. They can always call us and schedule something with us so we can make sure we have our time allotted for them.
Corey, thank you so much. That's Corey Little here at Full Service Flooring. Come see these guys. They're on Tilco Drive in Winterville, 756-9308 and FullServiceFlooring.com.
In North Carolina, we get up before the sun rises and stay up into the wee hours of the night. We believe in working hard and playing harder. Behind every meal, there's a farmer, and behind every farmer, there's Got to Be NC, the official state identity program for North Carolina agricultural products. Look for the Got to Be NC logo wherever you shop or eat, and you'll know you're getting a quality product grown, raised, caught, or made in North Carolina.
Ride and shotgun with your 5 o'clock drive.
Well, the drive home should be a delight.
This is Tom Lamprecht with more news and views on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
Welcome back in. The Biden family showed their class again today. Hunter Biden especially. Hunter Biden, the scandal-plagued son of President Joe Biden, cousin Eddie, has choice words for critics of his high-priced art dealings. The younger Biden appeared Thursday on the art podcast Nota Bene, where he had responded to critics of his art dealings by saying, F 'em. Classy, Hunter. That's real classy. Hunter's paintings are priced between $75,000 and $500,000, despite his lack of artistic experience, raising alarms among ethics experts. And what does the Biden administration do? They keep everything secret. Where is the outrage from the media, from journalists? You know what would happen if a conservative tried to pull this stunt. I mean, it's bad enough that they're doing it. I mean, this goes right along with the Clintons renting out the Lincoln bedroom. But here we got the president's son. You know darn well his art wouldn't sell for $20. He's raking in all kinds of money. I mean, this worthless druggie taking in all kinds of money for worthless art. And the Biden administration's solution to make everything right is we're keeping everything secret. Somehow that's more ethical. Oh, boy. This will fry your bacon. The federal government, this is out of the Free Beacon from earlier this week, the federal government provides tens of millions of dollars each year to a nonprofit group by the name of Vera Institute of Justice. The Vera Institute of Justice. A very noble-sounding title. It's a organization out of Brooklyn, and they urge the government to radically dismantle police departments in order to fix a system they say dehumanizes people of color. The institute is heavily funded by the federal government. So far this fiscal year, the Department of Justice, Department of Health and Human Services, and other agencies have awarded the Vera Institute of Justice more than $89 million in contracts and grants. The organization has received $811 million in federal funding since 2008, according to U.S. Spending, a federal budget database. Yeah. This ought to fry your bacon. You ought to be pissed. Pardon my bluntness. Your tax money is going to this organization to the tune of, in the last 13 years, $811 million, and this organization is all about defunding the police. Two of the head honchos of the organization, well, the head honcho, a guy named Nicholas Turner, wrote in June of 2020, Vera is committed to dismantling the current culture of policing and working towards solutions that defund police and shift power to communities. Like the police aren't a part of the communities? But Please note that Nicholas Turner received in the previous year a salary of $420,000. Yeah, follow the money. This is where your tax money's going. You know, and people say, well, you know, these grants that we give out, you know, it's just a drop in the bucket. I mean, we've got a budget of, you know, how many trillion, and this is only, you know, 80 million, so it's no big deal. Yeah, look where it's going. I mean, it is a big deal. We're in such a terrible deficit as it is, but the money that we're spending is going to organizations like this that are undermining our way of life. Kudos to Greg Murphy. Earlier this week, he introduced legislation that would prohibit federal employees from taking so-called cultural exchange trips to China. In most cases, federal employees must disclose information about privately funded trips they attend, but the 1961 Mutual Education and Cultural Exchange Act allows federal employees to go on 89 approved trips involving more than 50 foreign governments, including China, without filing a public disclosure the way they would for other trips. Communist China is the single greatest national economic security threat to the United States, Murphy told Fox News. For years, the Chinese Communist Party has violated international treaties, dismantled civil liberties, continued its oppression of ethnic minorities, conducted provocations and violations of other nations' sovereignty, put the safety and security of countless countries at risk, and much more, including the coronavirus. Well done, Congressman Murphy. Thank you. We need to take another time out. When we get back...
Making us all a little smart.
When we get back, we want to talk about members of the House Freedom Caucus who yesterday want Kevin McCarthy to boot Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney from the House Republican Conference. Talk about that and more when we get back.
Got a trade? Now's the time at Greenville Toyota. Never in history has your trade been worth more. Get paid today. Then get a new Toyota hot off the delivery truck. Hurry before they're gone. Like Camrys, $189 a month. Rush to Greenville Toyota.
Anything could happen ever since I met you. Let me take you dancing.
Introducing Pepsi Mango.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport.
Sawyer's Fun Park in Winterville is now open. With over 40,000 square feet of family fun, daily money-saving deals, and a full-service restaurant, Sawyer's Fun Park is guaranteed to have something the whole family will love. Test your ninja skills on our 2-story obstacle course or head over to one of our 5 rock walls and race your friends to the top. And when you've worked up an appetite in our laser tag arena or our one-of-a-kind ropes course, grab a table over at the restaurant and try our world-famous Southern Monster Fries. Reserve your spot today at SawyersFunPark.com and come join in on the fun.
My name is Dr. Neeti Armistead, Chief Medical Officer for Vidant Health. The following simple steps will help keep you and your community safe. Stay home as much as possible, wear a mask when out in public, avoid large gatherings, practice social distancing, and wash hands often. It's also important not to delay needed care. Vidant has taken important steps to provide you and your family with a safe environment. Learn more about COVID-19 and Vidant's response. Call 252-847-8000 or visit vidanthealth.com/COVID-19.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
This one's for everyone who spends the amount of time it would take to watch a movie, agreeing on which movie to watch. You've compromised enough. Pepsi Zero Sugar.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport.
Toyota shoppers, now's the time at Greenville Toyota. Shipments of factory-fresh Toyotas are arriving daily and being sold almost immediately, like Corollas for $159 a month. Get yours before they're gone. Now's the time. Rush to Greenville Toyota.
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood. A beautiful day for a neighbor.
First thing you should do after work.
I turn on the radio.
Check in with Tom and Benny.
Gotta know what's happening in my city. What's going on in my backyard.
Things that are happening locally.
I like the local news.
Things that I don't hear everywhere else.
For the local news you want.
Kept me informed for all of the local stuff, It let me know what was going on in the local community.
Eastern Carolina's news source is News and Views on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
Thank goodness for Texas Governor Greg Abbott and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Both those governors this week have signed executive orders prohibiting mask mandates or COVID-19 vaccine requirements from the government agencies and municipalities statewide. Abbott issued the order Thursday, 2 days after the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention recommended indoor mask mandates regardless of vaccination status in places with at least 50 confirmed COVID-19 cases per 100,000 people over the previous 7 days. Members of the House Freedom Caucus on Thursday called for Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy to give Representatives Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney the boot from the House Republican Conference, yet another chapter in the battle between the two anti-Trump Republicans and Trump loyalists. Representative Andy Biggs of Arizona said having Cheney and Kinzinger in the conference, which is supposed to be an organization where Republicans can plan their political strategy, is antithetical to its purpose because they sit in the select committee investigating the January 6th attack on the Capitol. More than just that, these two are bad-mouthing their fellow Republicans up one side and down the other. I mean, why would you have a couple of moles in your meeting? It was antithetical to have you sitting in your conference, individuals who profess that they want to take out the minority leader, and then they want to go and join the Democrats on a witch hunt through the Republican Party, Biggs said. He said Republicans should not tolerate those who have chosen to support the commission to go after Republicans. It's the truth. I mean, you stop and think about everything that Nancy Pelosi has said, how she prevented Jim Banks and Jim Jordan from being on this committee. And these two are willing accomplices to come in and say, oh, yeah, we're going to have a fair trial. We're going to have a fair hearing. We're going to have a fair commission when you know they're not. Quote, we've got two members of our party who have switched teams, said Representative Ralph Northam of South Carolina. What if you had a football game and two players just all of a sudden kept the same uniform on but started playing for the other team? Something has to be done. I would say that's right. Now, Cheney, of course, said, these are dangerous times we're living in. This is a dangerous rot that needs to be rooted out. They're promoting the big lie. By the way, there's another report out today, just came out this afternoon, trying to make Donald Trump look bad, as always happens. President Donald Trump urged senior Justice Department officials to declare the 2020 elections corrupt in a December phone call, according to handwritten notes from one of the participants in the conversation. Emails released last month show that Trump and his allies were in the last weeks of his presidency trying to pressure the Justice Department to investigate unsubstantiated claims of widespread 2020 election fraud, and the department's inspector general is looking into whether department officials tried to subvert the results. The more this goes on and the more investigations we have, Trump was right. Trump was right. Now, why is this released right now in the midst of this January 6th commission? It was very obvious why. They're looking for ammunition to blame Donald Trump and his supporters for what happened on January 6th. They're just trying to churn the pot, stir the pot, trying to make Trump look bad, trying to make Trump look guilty. Quite frankly, at the end of the day, this is another instance where they've tried to make Donald Trump look bad. And if we have fair investigations and fair audits, we're going to find out, and we are finding out, in Georgia and in Arizona, that there was fraud, the very thing that Donald Trump said. By the way, the infrastructure package that's supposedly bipartisan, yeah, right, that Mitt Romney was the go-between. He was the deal maker, the peacekeeper. Free Beacon is reporting that this infrastructure agreement, yeah, bipartisan, it is filled with billions for green energy, racial justice projects. Part of the deal is that they want to spend $110 billion earmarked for rebuilding roads and bridges that are racist. I'm not kidding. I know it's hard to believe you have roads and bridges that are racist, but believe it or not, that the government didn't put highways through black communities, thus depriving black communities of the commerce that comes with highway traffic. You can't win. You can't win. But there's all kinds of electric buses, Portera, that bus company that can't find the way to get their buses to stay on the road. There's going to be millions and millions of dollars for electric buses. Hey, we got to run. Have a great weekend. We'll do it again on Monday at 5. We'll see you then. Bye-bye, everybody.